You guys didn't have to stop. Okay. I don't want to go after. Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Miriam, and my major claim is video games make substantial benefits to players. Now, it's funny because. Okay. Sorry. So, how many of you guys have ever played a video game? Any type of video game? Awesome. Okay. I haven't, but I'm talking. Yeah. It's kind of weird, right? Make it different. Anyways, so did any of you guys play a video game perhaps before class today? One person. All right. Well, right on board with me on my little thing. So, you may be curious as to why I asked the question, and I will tell you as soon as I finish my speech. So, well, like I stated earlier, video games make substantial benefits to players. Now, my secondary claims today are video games assist in attention to detail, they assist in brain flexibility, and video games also assist in memory skills. So, one of my secondary claims that I want to start off with is video games assist in attention to detail. Now, a study in the University of Rochester showed that people who played action video games for a few hours a day over the course of a month improved their vision by about 20%. 20%, that's crazy, right? So, just want to reiterate on that. So, test subjects were given an eye test similar to the one used at regular eye clinics, and then divided into two groups. One played shoot-'em-up action games for an hour, and the other group played less visually complex games. Their vision was tested after the study, with those who played the action video game scoring better at the eye test. Crazy! She keeps telling me that my time is coming. Okay, so another claim that I wanted to go over is the same one, attention to detail. And the Griffiths Mark from the Washington Post said that playing video games can improve reaction times and hand-eye coordination. For example, research has shown that spatial visualization abilities such as mentally rotating and manipulating 2- and 3-dimensional objects improves with video game playing. Now, another study led by Delphine Bevelier, she's part of TED, if you guys ever watched TED Talks on YouTube. Well, she's from the University of Rochester. She showed that video games improve vision by making players more sensitive to slightly different shades of colors, known as contrast sensitivity. Video games assist in brain flexibility. Dina Spector from Business Insider mentioned that a group of adults between the ages of 60 and 85 were recruited to play a game called NeuroRacer for 12 hours over a month. 6 months after playing the game, the older adults were better at multitasking, retained more information in a short period of time, and had stronger attention skills. Now, a study also conducted at the Queen Mary University of London and University College in London, they conducted a test before and after of 72 volunteers that played StarCraft, or the life simulation game, The Sims, for 40 hours over 6 to 8 weeks. They found that participants assigned to play StarCraft experienced gains in their performance on psychological tests, completing cognitive flexible tasks with greater speed and accuracy. Just gonna go over this because my time's coming. Video games assist in better memory skills as well. And the National Academy of Science by Vikram Bijanti, I hope that they don't watch this and get me on that. But studies have revealed that the players show improved performance in perception, attention, and cognition. In a series of experiments on a small number of gamers, 10 to 14 people in the study, the researchers reported the gamers with previous experience of playing such action games were better in perceptual tasks such as patterns, discrimination than gamers with less experience. It showed that gamers perform much better on perceptual tasks than they had prior to their training. Yay! Okay, so perhaps you may look into playing video games before class, or maybe just fit them into your downtime. Maybe, just maybe, because they assist in attention to detail or brain flexibility. Maybe because you learn that they give you better memory skills. Thank you for listening to my speech on how video games make substantial benefits to players. And I have 30 seconds and I'm done.
So it depends on what type of game you play.
That's probably true. That's probably true. Actually, that's probably true. That was really good. That was a good piece, actually. Like every song that comes on the radio. I'm one of those people. You just see people's personalities come out.
Like waiting for class. Work on the roof.
All right, Miriam, the proposition is very clearly identified at the beginning of the speech, which is good. You've got a pretty good preview of the contents of the speech, laying out the structure for us to follow. So I thought that that was helpful. In fact, it was very helpful because you don't really signpost the individual points clearly when you get to them. There's like no transition between the first and the second point at all. However, because I had been listening to your preview, I knew that, hey, this is a separate set of information that you're working on. So you probably want to do a little bit more indicative signposting in the body of the speech so that people will know where you are at any given time, and it's not just information that's running together. It sounded to me like you were pretty thorough in presenting information. You had studies that you referred to. You're often giving us the conclusions of the studies. Sometimes they give us the conclusion about it has this improvement, but there's not any statistical measure of it. It's just the advocates saying those kinds of things, and I don't know how substantial it is. The one place where there was any quantification of this was on that first point where you said that we had a 20% increase in visual acuity, I think it was. And then you described the study. So that sounds pretty good. Everything else, though, seemed, a little, like I said, a little bit conclusionary. One of the things that might be important is an explanation about why these kinds of changes matter, why they're important. The ability to, for example, the ability to pick out different colors, follow patterns, respond quickly, that might be really good for playing a video game. So great, people who play video games get really much better at playing video games. That part would not be all that surprising. Does it have the effect, a positive effect on, like you mentioned, memory, for instance? Or do students retain more information because they play video games? Does their performance in class improve as a consequence? Are they better drivers, or do they have, like you mentioned, faster response times, for instance, to cognitive behaviors? Does that mean that they're quicker at taking tests, that kind of thing? If we had any data that would supplement that, I think that that would make your argument a little bit more meaningful. You do a nice job presenting for the most part, and you're trying to relate to us. You do, however, get to, you are reactive to the time signals, and you are constantly focusing on that sort of thing. And I thought you had a nice summary statement exit line, and then you stepped all over it with a reaction about how much time you had left going on. And so you're drawing a little bit too much attention to the fact that you're giving a speech instead of to the speech that you're giving. Ooh, I like the way I said that. Let me write that down somewhere. All right. Yeah.